Well, hey guys. So this is the recap video that I promised to do in my last recap video, how I renovated this log sauna. If you did not see the sauna video but are somewhat interested, then I will add that somewhere up on the screen here. So let's get this recap video about this house going. Kinda even don't know where to start, to be honest. Done so much work to this, and all in a mix wash style, meaning a little bit here, a little bit there, some things there, and some teeny tiny things there as well. But let's start off with a quick history, I guess. So the house was actually built before Estonia even got its independence in 1902, so that makes the building what? I made so many mistakes in the past, so let's just pull up the calculator here. Right now it's 2022, I think. Oh, what the hell am I doing? 2022 minus... Oh. A nice round number. So the building itself is currently 120 years old. So that makes this building even 8 years older than this one. And to just clarify that I'm not making these numbers up, here are a couple of markings on the walls. 1902. Another one is here. I'm not sure if you guys can see. One moment. And the third one is supposed to be on the corner of this foundation here. It was hammered in a giant boulder, but right now this thing is covered up with concrete and insulation, so I hope you can see here the numbers. Anyway, pretty much a standard log farmhouse of the era. Originally it had a birch shingle roof, but some 50 years ago the original roof was overlaid with asbestos friendly panels, and just recently, about 3 or 4 years ago, I replaced the complete roof with asbestos free roofing materials. By the way, these roofing panels, they are made in Ukraine. The house itself was sort of put together wishy-washy, meaning it was not built out of fresh trees. Instead it was put together by bunch of reused logs. For example, something like this. So this is a reused log right here. It had a different purpose at some point. Again, a reused log, and that one as well is a reused log. So this whole wall here is made out of probably reused logs. There's a bunch of holes in them that were not part of this building. And also this section of the wall here, you can see that at some point it used to be a corner of a building. Obviously this is not the corner anymore, and this is the corner. Originally the house belonged to some guy named Gustav, and he was forcefully deported to a labor camp in Siberia. As Gustav had no children, there was no one to give the plot of land. After that, the state got the ownership for the land and the building. It was repurposed as a village hospital, so to speak, and my grandma ended up being the primary caregiver for this region. Grandpa worked at a local farm. Eventually they were able to buy the building from the state, and then they became the owners of this entire estate. Okay, so now that we got all that history stuff out of the way, I'm gonna kinda briefly explain how I'm gonna make this video happen, because it's a bit complicated for me to do. So all the renovation projects started off in 2011, but as I didn't do stuff in a linear fashion, like I said, I did some work there, and also I did a bunch of work up here as well. Man, this is a pretty kick-ass view up here. Yeah, gotta get down from here now before I fall down. So I have two options in making this video happen. I can either talk linearly, or I could just focus on one side of the building and then focus on the other side of the building. I think the second option is a bit better. I mean, if I went linearly, then it would be so weird, you know, because I would be jumping from one job to another. So let's choose the first option, and firstly let's focus on this side of the building. Back in 2011, The house looked like complete poo. Walls, roofs, ceilings, you name it, were caving in. There wasn't much useful space. Everything was filled with absolutely useless crap. I mean, the second floor was filled with so much rotten out newspaper and cat pee soaked cardboard. When I cleaned that out, there was enough fuel for the bonfire to burn for 2 weeks straight. I'm not even joking here. Sadly, I don't have any pictures of the second floor before the massive cleanup, but there was everything up there. Right after the cleanup, I started the first ever repair job on the building. And the first thing that needed to be done was one section of the back log wall on the building, illustrated here. So at one point it had pretty much sunken into the ground. Very common problem with buildings like these around here. My grandpa did a quick fix to it at some point, just throwing some ash cinder blocks under the logs to prevent it from sinking any further. It's a good thing that he did that. Now it probably would be too late. I wanted to improve the situation a bit and restore some of its original look. Lifted the wall up on these 20-ton jacks and made a concrete footing with a concrete foundation. And I managed to find some logs to fill the gaps. So this was pretty much a quick and a good fix for this wall. And to this day it has held up nicely, as you can see here. About the same time after the wall fix, I started doing concrete flooring inside. Before that, it had no floor at all. We were just walking on ground inside the house. Because it was such a huge area for us, I decided to do the borer in sections. Took a total of 2 years, but got most of the floor bored. And it's been like this ever since nicely. But as time goes on, I do wish the surface quality of the floor would be better. If I ever have some free time, I actually wanna resurface this entire floor with fresh concrete and do a bit better job smoothing it out. Next up, had to fix a wall that was right next to the first wall I fixed. Now this one was in a state that would be considered as danger of collapse. So the issue was that the roof section here had shifted to the other side, pushing that wall out and pulling this one in. First I hooked it up to my tractor, tried to pull it back with hydraulics. That did not work out. Then I tried to pull it with the tractor itself. Still did not manage it. You can see from these pictures in what state this wall was in. I remember that my friend came to me at this point and he literally told me, "Dude, you're crazy. This thing is going to collapse on you." This did not change my mind though. I ended up removing the entire wall and supporting that part of the house on 2 bottle jacks, while having tons of backup supports. Also supports diagonally to make sure the house would not just dip over with some heavy winds. It felt kind of weird seeing that a large chunk of the wall was missing, but the building was still standing and it didn't have any issues with that. As the building was nicely sitting on the jacks, in the meantime I could make new section of foundation under it. Poured the footings with concrete, and because I didn't have any spare logs to replace the rotten ones out, I went with the cinder block option instead. Started constructing the wall up with blocks. First time doing any block work, by the way. I think I did right. Added some 3 layers of logs on top of that to finish the wall off. From the other side of the building though, it was a opposite matter. Like I mentioned before, on the other side the wall had gone outwards, so I wanted to get that straight as well. This was relatively easy. I just lifted the wall up, shifted it straight, and then lowered it back. Here's a little before and after picture of the wall straightness. I'm really lucky that this side had nice intact and rot-free logs on it. Now from here a real challenge started. To sort out the garage side of the building. It's the part where the workshop is currently located, and this was by far the biggest challenge, due to it being in a state that most would just deem unworthy to even touch. Rather just bulldoze the place down and start anew. There was so many problems here and I started off with a near collapsed log wall. The problem was some structural elements had failed over time. Log lockings had given up at some point and the wall had nothing else to do to just start collapsing with the roof slowly pushing the wall outwards. Really, the only thing that was holding the roof together were these things up here. They were locked nicely with these wooden nails and kept the roof from total collapse. Last line of the fence here held up nicely before I got my hands on it. My plan was simple. I wanted to get the wall straight and lock it in place before it would just collapse. To achieve this, I had two options. Either take the roof off and straighten the wall or try to force it back. As we did not have any money to replace the roof at the time, I needed to choose the second option. Did bunch of prep work to secure the wall inside and outside. Tied it up with cables, straps, lumber, you name it, and from the outside started forcing the roof up with the same bottle jacks, while making sure the wall is locked as a single unit and would move as such. The jacking up process was slow and it took days, but eventually I managed to force the wall a lot more straight than it was. As I reached the level of straightness that I was happy with, I stopped jacking and locked the wall in with two anchor spots. One from here and another one from here. This should keep the wall from failing in the future. Later I added bunch of more anchor points. It's really important to have multiple support units, so if one fails, then the others can take the load. As the wall was fixed, I made another piece of foundation to seal off the hole in the wall. And I also tried to do a bit of boulder laying work to fill the final gaps, and this is how I managed to get this near collapsed wall back straight into a safe condition, hopefully for many years. Okay, now the wall was secure, I could do some work inside, but it was a huge mess there, as seen from here. Absolute pile of crap. I mean literally. There was about 2 tons of cow poo still beneath all the rubbish. Some of the support logs were rotten out. My granddad at some point put some support under it, but I couldn't leave it like that, so I decided to add a brace for it. And to this day this fix has nicely held up here. Yeah, everything seems okay here. First things first, had to remove a ton of rubbish and junk. And man, there was a lot of it. I mean literally tons of crap. So previously the garage was separated by this wall. At first I thought I'm gonna make a new wall here, so I poured the slab on the boulder wall and even constructed a support structure for the upper floor. But we ended up changing our minds and later on I completely removed this wall to make the workshop as wide as it is today. It was a good call. Here's even a little video clip how I removed the wall in question. Second thing I constructed was a floor above the workshop. Beforehand it had really nothing here, open ceiling to the roof. First time using my homemade lumber, by the way. It's a good place to store stuff that you don't want to throw away, yet you will never need, most likely. Here's another picture of the workshop before. Looking back at this really makes me wonder how it even got so bad. We rented a micro digger and finished cleaning all the cow and chicken crap out of the area, after which started digging the tunnel. By the way, the garage did have a tunnel as well before. It looked like this. Yeah, but now it sort of looks something like this. Let's quickly check this thing out. Yeah, pretty boring. Wouldn't wanna live down there. I don't really know why I did this tunnel thing. In the past 3 or 4 years, I've only used it once, but I guess it's still a good thing to have. I really wanted to dig the hole deeper, but the micro digger only managed a maximum of 1.6 meters. There was so much gravel coming out of that hole, I really struggled to place it anywhere. I packed almost the entire room tightly with gravel, and later I had to remove it all by hand. But my mother helped me out with that. By the way, this is how the entrance to the workshop looked for a good part of 3 months or so. I remember this nicely because it was 2017, and while I was working on the tunnel, my father passed away. After all that digging, I started the concrete work. Firstly bored a floor inside the ditch, and then cinder blocked the wall up. I added a deeper concrete floor around the sides because we were thinking about maybe adding a car lift to the shop. I'm really glad we did not go down that route. It would have been a pointless thing to have in a small shop. After that, I was able to continue the shop build by doing the floor in my normal fashion, adding a bunch of bricks, rocks to fill the void, so I wouldn't need to make so much concrete. I have never ordered any cement trucks on the farm. All the concrete I've ever made is with a mixer. I think I have saved a ton of money doing it this way, but it is a lot of hard work and I can't continue this forever. So at this point we decided to get rid of this wall here to make the shop wider. Really glad we did that. Would have been a tiny stupid shop if we left this wall here. Had to temporarily re-support the upper floor to avoid collapse. So with the wall nicely removed, did a second boring as well for the floor area, and the floor was nicely completed now. I also put couple of supports in place for the upper floor area. Especially I like this maple post here that I installed. I've even backed into this with my excavator a few times and the thing does not move. So this support here is made out of maple, and believe it or not, I was trying to figure out what to put here. At the time I didn't really have any thicker posts, so I was trying to figure out something. But just prior to that, a storm had pushed a maple tree down on the property. It's supposed to be here somewhere. How can a stump disappear? What the hell? This is so weird. Somebody hijacked this stump. Anyway, here was the maple tree that fell down just prior to me trying to figure out what to put in that garage. Next up was doing the entrance area and finishing off the tunnel. This was relatively easy. After which, started doing the sides for the boulder walls. I was afraid that maybe the boulders might dislocate themselves because prior to that they have been deep underground for God knows how long, but now they're exposed and I don't know in what state they're in, so I decided to add some concrete to support the lower ones. While all that was happening, I did some digging outside. Removed half of this bank. I got tons of gravel out of it. I even shot a video how I removed this huge pile of gravel with my homemade loader. I will shove that video up here somewhere or in the description. But anyway, next up was, well, another major challenge. This messed up looking wall here. It was really in a bad state of decay, especially the lower 6 or 7 rows of logs. It was so bad that I decided to just remove most of the wall. So yeah, part of the house was just sitting on posts and bottle jacks again. Hey, at least I got great bonfire material for Jan's Day. This seemed like a yearly thing for me now. For the wall replacement, I did a simple, just post and frame design with some OSB to cover it up. Had no logs to replace the wall, and as I was putting siding on it anyway, it did not seem like any point to go and get some logs. This is fine, and it has been fine ever since. Finished the siding and built a neat door for it. It's called a fishtail door, built out of reused siding boards. I think it looks very good. Compared to what it was before, overall, I think it's a bit better. Some time went past and we rented another digger. This time I wanted to dig out this whole slope. Wanted to build a car parking spot for this area, so I started off with that. First thing was to make the footing for the foundation. Then supported the house boulder walls with some concrete walls. So now I started cleaning bricks. Maybe you know what I'm talking about here. A bunch of used chimney bricks. After cleaning them, I got a really beautiful wall going. It acts as a foundation and also as a retaining wall for the carport. As you would imagine, it was a really messy and time-consuming job. Overall, this retaining brick wall has lasted very nicely. So this has nicely survived here for many years now. But one thing that I've always wanted to do was to add some kind of cover to it. Maybe some kind of roofing panels on top here or some patio bricks. I mean, I want to cover up this top surface. I think it looks ugly. Other than that, this wall has survived pretty nicely. If you guys have some good ideas how to cover the top of this wall, then let me know in the comments. Prior to this, I did bunch of sawmilling for these heavier pieces of logs. I even have some video clips here how I got these giant pieces of timber. It could just barely fit on my sawmill bench. Also cutting them was an absolute nightmare. I had to pull these logs out of the forest with a tractor through rocks and dirt. I pretty much got a couple of cuts done before the blade was completely dull. Absolute nightmare that. Started to construct the framing for the cardboard. The framing came together quite fast. Tractor helped me out a lot here. About 95% of the work I do is alone, and without any equipment, it would be very hard for me to continue work like this. As I look for the future, I will try to figure out what kind of equipment I would benefit from if I wanted to buy anything else. Before you know it, I even got the undercoating on the roof to make it rainproof for the time being. The beams, by the way, crazy long, about 9 meters, and they're 6 by 12s if I remember it correctly. Next thing was the concrete floor for the carport. Same deal as always. Bunch of rock, boulders, rebar, plastic wrap, and some other stuff to make it happen. And this is how it came out. This is me first time parking the car under it. Felt proud. Made the entrance floor with a grate and also installed a water drainage pipe for it. But I've had trouble with this ever since I installed it. The problem here is that when it's raining very heavily, the water will actually flow down this slope here. And that's why I installed this pipe here to carry the water away from the house. So the pipe will actually go down about 2 meters and then just take off in that direction, maybe 15-20 meters. But if the heavy water comes down here, it also carries sand with it. And that sand has clogged up this pipe, sadly. I mean, the water will still seep through it, but if there is so much water, then this area will just overflow and water will enter the tunnel inside the garage. So I still need to fix that somehow. So at summer 2019, I started probably my biggest job ever on the building. And it was the roof for the building. The entire roof area for the house is around 400 square meters. I mean, I've done roof jobs before, but nothing on this scale. This picture was taken on my first day of vacation. I had a total 4 weeks of vacation, and this job took me a total of around 7 weeks to complete. I had no idea how to proceed though. I just took my chainsaw and started hacking away. Wanted to remove both the old paneling, also the old roofing shingles under the paneling, and the cross supports. I wanted to leave the original roof support logs in place for two reasons. First, they were long, like almost 8 meters long. Getting this type of lumber is not very likely these days, unless you order glued support beams. Secondly, they were in overall healthy condition and seemed like a waste just to change them out. Only thing I had to do was to re-level the roof. Early on, I already started to re-level the roof with some undercoating on it. This was overall a bad idea, as leveling sections of a roof is not comparable to leveling the entire roof. I should have taken the entire one side off, but as I was playing a game called One Man Army, then I needed to do this my way. I wanted minimal rainwater damage to the insides, and oh boy, it rained like crazy for the upcoming 7 weeks. I started working on the other side on week 2, I think. By this time, I had learned a lot from the previous 2 weeks. How to do stuff efficiently. So this side went a lot smoother and faster. The cleanup process, though, was a complete nightmare. There were tons of nails and old scrap left around the house for weeks. It looked so weird having these huge holes in the roof. A house might look massive, but in truth, a house is mostly air by volume. Week 3 and was able to start laying new paneling on the roof. Originally, I really wanted to put concrete roofing on the house, like I did so on the sauna and last year on the log cabin thing that I'm currently building. I think that would have looked amazing on this old building. But as I did not change out the main roof supports, I could not do this, because the overlap between the supports was 2 times greater than what was required, although the installation would have been a lot easier compared to the big panels. So we settled on this material. It's pretty much like Soviet era roofing panels, but without any deadly asbestos in it. We had two options, either to get the panels produced in Poland or Ukraine. Chose the second option because it was slightly cheaper. And honestly, the paneling looked great. Very flexible, sturdy, and solid looking. Installing them was annoying though. Each panel had a mass of around 36 kilos. But here, as always, the old girl came to help me out, and it wasn't that bad overall. I think it took me about 2 weeks to fully install the roofing panels. The gutters and other piping took me an extra week. On this side of the house, the height was just too great to reach anything, so I built a temporary work surface for myself. And finally, the carport was the last part to retrieve the roofing panels. Next to the chimney, I installed some work platforms, just so the chimney cleaner has a nice and safe way up there while cleaning the chimneys. These pictures were taken right after the roof job was finished, and overall I am very pleased with how the roof came out, and these Ukrainian-made roofing panels have survived very well so far. No damage at all, even the paint looks solid. Need to do something like this once every 50 years or so. By the time this building needs a new roof, hopefully I'm dead. Or something. Somebody else can take a crack at it. I don't mind at all. But anyway guys, that's about it. I think I covered pretty much everything major that I wanted to talk about this side. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick before and after montage. The pictures are roughly taken on the same spot, so I hope you enjoy. So you saw how I played Russian roulette with these walls and roof, and somehow I survived that. Got this whole area sorted out nicely. The workshop as well. Bunch of stuff done out here also. And the roof. Holy cow, the roof. What a freaking mess this was. But enough of that. Let's focus on the thing that actually matters. And that would be the living side of the house. I hope you guys are still hanging in there. I mean, the weather went from beautiful to absolute crap, and overall it has taken me so long to even put this half of the video together. So hang in there, guys. I'm gonna draw you a line soon. Before I dive into the other side, here are some side notes about it. Quick ones. It was actually designed for 3 families. It had a single washroom, 3 kitchens, 2 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. I don't know, guys, that seems to me that one of the 3 families kinda got screwed over by having no living or bedroom. I suppose they were just sleeping under the kitchen table. Nowadays, after all that work, what remains is a single washroom, 1 kitchen, 4 bedrooms, couple of living rooms, some of these rooms, corridors, and then there's this thing, whatever you wanna call this tiny tunnel here. Let's just call it the gray zone. So enough of useless side notes. Let's start off from the beginning. Gonna take you guys back to 2011 again. So enjoy. So anyway, let's continue this video. And back in 2011, the living side of the house looked like this. By this time, my grandparents had both passed away and the house was completely empty. Nobody was living in it anymore. Only on the summer times people were visiting the house, including me. Although I was just a little boy at the time, I was very excited to come, because I always wanted to do something. I waited for each weekend with very big excitement. During the winter times, we did not really visit the house at all because it was not insulated and the inside was just so damn cold. I still remember that one day. Once I came here in the middle of the winter, it was minus 29 outside, and inside the house it was minus 19. I'm not even joking here. I fired up all the wood-fired stoves for a whole day. By the end of the day, I managed to get the inside temperature to plus 1 degrees Celsius. Nowadays, when it's minus 29 outside, the lowest it will fall inside without any heating is around plus 3. So yeah, the insulation and wind barrier makes a massive difference. The first bigger job on this side was demolishing an old chimney and fireplace. By the way, this silly cat, after opening up the chimney holes, she crawled inside the chimney, and this is how she looked afterwards. But then again, she has been a huge poser when taking pictures. She lived for 16 years and then got run over by a car. Anyway, with all that old crap removed out of the way, a new chimney started to rise. It went up quite fast. A bit time after the chimney was complete, a new wood-fired stove was being constructed. This went up relatively fast as well. About a week or two, if I recall. At this point, I started working on the inside. I removed all the old flooring. There was nothing under the floorboards. They were just sitting on dirt. Also, there was no foundation on this location. The lowest logs were just sitting on layers of bricks, and the bricks were just sitting on dirt. It was quite interesting solution. On the backside, I made some forms and poured a solid concrete foundation. Then I went to the other side. Firstly, I wanted to remove old step thing. This step thing, I mean. To my surprise, whoever constructed this, instead of using rebar, they used tank treads. This was quite interesting.
I guess getting tank treads at the time was easier than buying rebar. Something similar is happening right now. As I finished the foundation on the back side, I started working on the front side again, focusing on building a new foundation and setting the building temporarily on bricks while making the foundation happen. This is how the section of the building looked for a few weeks, while I was working on this on and off. From under this wall these massive boulders came out. It was kinda tricky to wiggle them out, but here yet again the old girl came to rescue me out of trouble. This tractor has been super useful at the farm. Used a bunch of old Soviet cabinet doors to make the forms out of, and later insulated the foundation. After that I started working on inside and insulated the floor. Did bunch of work on the inside walls as well. Drywalled most of the walls on these rooms due to bad low quality. Only managed to save one tiny piece of wall out. Hey, at least something, right? The two rooms started to come together nicely and over time they looked a whole lot better than before. In one of the rooms we decided to add back old flooring boards, a decision I would later regret. Mostly, the quality of the floorboards were absolute crap. Like for example, the moisture content was too high and they just had so many nail holes. But by this time we got the windows that we ordered months ago and at the same day we decided to install them. So while we were doing finishing touches on these two rooms, I already was thinking about the next major job, and that was doing the septic line output from the house. It never had anything like this before. I mean, it did had some piping, but nothing like this. Really, the only thing we had was an outhouse that was close to the building. So we rented a mini digger from a friend and started digging, I guess. There was tons of digging that was needed to be done. This little trencher really struggled, but it got the job done in about a day. I was so impressed with this mini digger that several years later I actually bought this machine from that same guy. But as time went by, I eventually decided to side with the excavator. Ended up selling this tiny little thing. By this time, the two rooms I was working on before were now finished. Overall, I was pretty happy how they turned out. Should I have put some new furniture in it though? New stuff always lights up a room. And the reused floorboards looked pretty good. At the start, that is.
But now these floorboards have been dated somewhat. And the main reason for that is because the room was not heated properly before, so the boards had a higher than normal moisture content. And after I reinstalled them here, the room became more warmer and the boards started to dry out. So 6 years later, I'm not very satisfied with these floorboards and I'm planning to change them out. So a while back, I did manage to score myself some flooring here, and actually I'm planning to put this flooring on this room sometime down the road. If by some miracle I have some free time, you know. I'm sure you guys know what these are, but I can't really pronounce what they are called.
Next up was the entrance to the building. Beforehand, this is how we got inside the house. Kinda sketchy as staircase. I even have this short video to showcase here, while I'm trying to demolish this little entrance thing. After clearing that, this is how we got into the house. This is even sketchier than before. Wanted to build a terrace, a big one at that. Started off with making support posts for it. Fairly simple, used ventilation pipe as post supports. The thing does not rust away and will last for a while. Also, it will act as a rebar as well. Seems like a great idea. Tampered a bunch of rocks down the hole and filled it with concrete. Then set the pipe inside the concrete. Afterwards filled the pipe with the concrete as well. hauled in bunch of lumber and started the installation process. To treat the beams, I just used old tractor engine oil. Added this plastic wrap underneath the turrets to ensure that no grass will grow under it. Construction of the turrets went as smooth as you would imagine, and I think I managed to finish it off in a day or two. Very satisfied how this ended out being a multi-level turrets and all, although in the background the house still looked like absolute crap. Next thing that I started working on was the kitchen. The fireplaces for the kitchens were all demolished because of poor conditions and fire safety. Anyway, I started doing bunch of demolition in this room, ended up removing a small side wall to make the kitchen bigger. I really hated removing the old plaster. It was so thick and really dusty work. Plus, there was so much of it, everything was just covered in it. At least cleaning the stuff off the floor with a shovel was super easy. By the way, this room had a couple of surprises. First, to our surprise, a doorway emerged out of all that plaster. It was shut with some random boards. We had no idea there was a doorway on this spot. We decided to restore this doorway.
And to this day, the doorway has been nicely in use.
Another surprise that came was this firewall that was hidden beneath all that plaster. We had no idea about this as well. As it was not connected to any chimney, which was kinda weird, then we could only speculate how old this thing really is.
I can only speculate how old this heat wall is, but if I were to guess, I'm guessing maybe 100 years old. Someone made it at some point in the past and it has these huge ass bricks. And on the other side, I also decided to leave this wall out. I added some varnish on top of here to protect the surface from water, and that has been working out great so far.
Next up was removing the floorboards. Same deal, the boards were just sitting on plain dirt, like the rest of the house was. Really strange. I'm surprised that this house has had no problems with mold. Also, there was literally no foundation on this spot as well. Just couple of big rocks that the lower logs were sitting on. Did as best as I could to dig out all the crap under the walls and started to support the house yet again on bricks as temporary support. Afterwards, did my formworks around the walls and poured a solid foundation. I really saved a ton of money by using these old cabinet doors as framework material. And I will continue to do so in the future because the price of OSB and plywood are almost as high as the moon is. Installed the septic line outputs for the kitchen, did all the electric work, and then wanted to start cleaning out the walls.
Because the kitchen area was one of many rooms that we decided to leave the logs out. The quality of the logs were good in these rooms, and later we decided to use linseed oil to make the finish.
Here are a couple of pictures before and after cleaning the logs. I think it leaves a nice result, but the cleaning process is hard and dusty. Need some proper safety and health equipment for that. I used a normal hand grinder and some very rough sandpaper to grind all the crap off the walls. Finished insulating the floor and installed some new floorboards. After this, I started working on the outside, same room still. Insulated the walls with rock wool, wind barrier, and eventually some siding boards. By the way, these were the first walls in the entire house to receive new siding. We decided to apply dark tar oil to the siding, and it has upheld really well to this date. Although it is recommended to reapply this oil at least every 5 years. Currently we are on year 6, so I'm overdue on that matter, but hopefully I will get it done this year. Went back to the terrace side and added some siding there as well. New windows and door arrived, so I installed those next because the winter was upon us and this was a must thing to have. So as most work was done in the kitchen area, I started working in the former kitchen area. As always, A giant ass crowbar and a huge hammer was needed. So I started off by removing the old fireplace and also the firewall. After which I wanted to clean the brick wall that I was talking about earlier. It was a really messy job. I remember that the whole house was filled with brick dust. I mean, it was just literally everywhere. It was so ridiculous. After all that dusting, I went on with the floor. Same deal as always. Removed some old crap, made some new crap, insulated the new crap, and installed some old crap back. So same crap as always. Ended up looking something like this, and it remained like this for a couple of years. Still in somewhat of unfinished state. Also the chimney had seen better days. Few years later, we did change out the chimney, and I managed to squeeze in some time here to finish this room off completely. Today it looks something like this, and I think it looks very good. At this point I installed a staircase to the second floor. These were one of my first ever made planks that I've done. This was before I had a bandsaw mill, and I did this on my chainsaw mill instead. This is what my chainsaw mill bed looked like. It worked, but it was very slow, and man, all that sawdust. Just wow. If I recall, it took me a whole day to cut this one log into planks. Cutting my own planks was very exciting though. That's the main reason I wanted to make a bandsaw mill. Interesting fact is that although I finished the staircase, it would lead to nowhere for at least the next 3 years, as I didn't start the second floor construction at this time.
To this day, this staircase is proudly standing here. Only one thing that I dislike about it is its grade. I think it's a bit too steep, but I really couldn't make it any leaner because the length of the log I had. Yeah, this plank is pretty cool. I like it.
Anyway, did some more work outside and installed a new window and door here. Then I did bunch of more work on the foundation, but afterwards I started working on the washroom. This is how the washroom looked while I was working on installing the pipes. It's crazy to think that it now looks something like this. So poured the insulated concrete floor and finished the walls with some drywall. Although this room was tiny, it took a good while to complete. But eventually the washroom ended up looking something like this. By the way, this is the same heating wall that I was talking about earlier, where we heat the time capsule. So lucky that I managed to leave it out like this. A piece of history staring right at you as you are taking a crap or showering. Seems solid. So out of the bathroom now. Once the winter was over, I went full on with the outside siding. Insulated the whole building with mineral wool and wind barrier. Afterwards, added some siding to the walls. Here's a little section of a wall that I had to wait like freaking 2 months to remove. So the issue was that some birds decided to create a nest behind these 3 boards. I know, right? I waited until the birds had grown up and left their nests before continuing the work by removing these last 3 boards. This was pretty irritating, but whatever, it's fine. After the new siding was nicely installed, it gave the whole house a new fresh image. It looked a lot better than it did before, and overall I was very satisfied with the results. Did decide to use lighter tar oil this time on the remaining siding. Half of the house is darker and half of the house is lighter. About 3 weeks later, we decided to construct a new porch to this spot. Not sure really why, but I think it fits this location pretty well, although it has not been used very much in the last years. Kinda just sitting and idling all this time. But I'm sure it will be useful down the road, hopefully. So going back inside, the last remaining old fireplace was still standing. This looked pretty solid though. We were actually thinking maybe we should keep it. It was not made out of bricks from the outside. Instead, these pot-style bricks were used. These types of fireplaces are considered to be the most expensive variant because it's held together with steel clamps and it allows for great expansion control. We still ended up demolishing it and removing it completely. Just look what it looked inside. Absolute crap. It pretty much collapsed on its own after we removed the outer shell. There were a total of 6 fireplaces or fire stoves in the house. As of today, not a single old fireplace or chimney is left in the building. All has been demolished, and instead of the 6, there are 3 now. And also, let's not forget the original fire heat wall that is still remaining in the house. For this one, we got a contractor. A father and his son came to the house and built it in about 2 weeks or so. The other 2 fireplaces was built by my man cousin, and oh boy, he did a very good job at both of them. First, he tried his hand on this fireplace, and it came out very nicely. It heats up the room fast and is reliable. Afterwards, he built a new massive fireplace here. It took him some time, but the end result is amazing. It is crafted very well and the detail is extremely fine and solid. Kudos on this build, cousin. On the front side of the house, decided to improve the entrance a bit and built a small sunroof on it. This was all done out of my own lumber, 100%. And if I recall, it took me less than $400 to construct this whole thing. Think it adds a lot of usefulness to the main entrance. I mean, it's really cool to stay under it when there's a massive rainstorm outside. As porches go, I decided to install a small porch behind the house as well. This was very cheap and easy to do. Think it took me roughly 2 days to complete. And all the materials were leftovers from the last porch job. So virtually this cost me like $0. By this time I had finished the roof and most of the rooms downstairs. Next big thing was the second floor area. This one here. The whole area was useless empty space where cats had the occasional be everywhere party. I wanted to crash that party and build couple of bedrooms up here. I knew it's gonna take a while and it ended up taking me about 8 months to fully complete. So let's talk about this now, the last major job that I had to do. Firstly, ordered bunch of supplies in advance, like lumber, wind barriers, drywall, and of course insulation. Absolute crap ton of insulation. For example, like this. There's seriously something wrong with this image here. As with always, the first thing that was done was the cleanup. There were tons of crap all over the place, left from the roof job that I did last year. Next up was supporting the roof. As you can see, formally the roof was supported by a bunch of posts, probably installed by my grandpa. Good thing he did that, elsewhere the roof would have sagged a lot more. But if I wanted to construct a bunch of rooms here, then obviously these posts could not remain. I had to re-support the entire roof. I came up with this plan. Had made these beams 5 meters long, running across the roof, and then I added posts to support these beams at specific locations where walls would be constructed so later they could be hidden inside the drywalls. Now getting these beams up and supported was kinda hardcore. No access to a crane or anything like that. But with some straps I could pull it off, no problem. After this I did the ceiling supports, then installed the wind barrier for the roof, then came the cross supports for the insulation.
because I ended up adding a lot of rock wool, about 300 millimeters, on the ceiling and the roof. I had to make criss-cross pattern for the insulation. 2 layers of insulation were installed. After insulation, the moisture barrier was next, both on the ceiling and the roof. Once this was done, I did all the framing for the walls and floors. This was yet again done with my homemade lumber. Saved tons of money on this as well. Did all the wiring and then even added some insulation between the rooms, mostly to act as a sound barrier. After this came the fun part, installing the drywall. Drywall installation was relatively straightforward and easy. Even marked the spots where windows could be installed in the future, but as of now, no new roof windows has been installed yet. The possibility will remain there though. Will I ever do it? That's a different question. After this, the floor received its insulation and the new floorboards arrived on the scene. Sometime later, they were nicely installed. Also, the ceiling received its final finish as well. So afterwards, this whole mess what was here before actually started to look like some useful rooms. It's crazy to think how it looked before and what it is now. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied how the top rooms came out. I'm calling it, guys. This is the end. Literally the hardest video I've ever put together. Or the most time consuming. Been working on this on and off for about 2 months now. Head started to hurt about 5 minutes into the first few clips. Yeah, I don't ever wanna do a video like this again. Absolute nightmare this. But anyway, that's how I have managed to work on this building since 2011. I still have tons of work to be done, but I would assume the hardest stuff is now complete. For example, the roof. This was a massive challenge. My mother was always worried, how are we gonna sort this thing out? Money was kinda tight, so we didn't really wanna hire a contractor. So I just told her, don't worry bro, I got this. At the end of the day, I can proudly say I did that. But just like with the sauna renovation, I can't take the whole credit here. I mean, I did most of the work, I'm guessing about 90 to 95%, but there were still other people who helped me out on this project. So I'm gonna take this moment to kinda thank them here. So firstly my mom, who always wants to help out, even if she's physically unable to do so. The next person would be my aunt, very resourceful person and always supportive when it comes to hard labor. My sister and her husband, by supplying me with construction materials. So next up, both my cousins. Well, one is a female, so cousiness. Cousiness, is that even a thing? I don't know. Anyway, my man cousin has always done the hard stuff, like building the chimneys, fireplaces and stuff like that. And my cousin Ness has all the good ideas. But anyway, this was the story about the main house. Been wanting to tell this story for a while now, so glad it's finally done. I personally think I did a good justice, and overall I'm very happy how this has turned out. They say that wood structures have a maximum lifespan of around 300 years, if conditions are good and it's well maintained. So we're getting close to halfway point here. So Estonia is actually filled with houses like these behind me. But a large number of them has fallen into some form of decay or ruin. And the main reason is that when old people die out, new people just go to the cities where there is work. And the plot of land are usually left into decay. So they are just left for ruin. There are even several abandoned houses around the village here. If you guys want, I could take you on a tour to check them out sometime in the future. But let's end this video on that note. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.